Kavanaugh told her that he considered Roe versus Wade to be settled law. That, by Susan Collins' own admission, is something that is important to her, something that matters to her in terms of her vote on this nomination. Well, today, somebody leaked to the New York Times and then to NBC News this email written by Brett Kavanaugh in 2003, in which he argues explicitly that Roe versus Wade is not recognized to be settled law because the Supreme Court could very well overturn it. Quote, "I am not sure that all legal scholars refer to Roe as the settled law of the land at the Supreme Court level, since court can always overrule its precedent." And 3 current justices on the court would do so. At the time Brett Kavanaugh was writing that in 2003, he was probably right that 3 justices on the court then would have voted to overturn Roe. Right now, there are certainly 4 justices who are expected to be votes to overturn Roe, and Judge Brett Kavanaugh is widely believed to be the long-awaited 5th vote to do just that if they ever put him on the court. So that email, first made public today, despite it being stamped confidential by the Republicans, it raises a few questions. First of all, why was that email marked confidential and not released to the public? What about that was inappropriate for the public to know about Judge Kavanaugh and his views? I mean, that was him commenting on a proposed op-ed. What's the national security sanctity of a proposed op-ed? That means we all need to be protected from his suggested edits to that document. But also, how do senators like Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins look at that and explain to their constituents that they're still confident that he'll treat Roe as settled law, that there's no chance he believes that it could even be overturned, when it's there in black and white that he doesn't believe it's settled law at all, that he absolutely thinks it could be overturned? Again, what Democratic senators appear to be pursuing here is not a broadcast strategy to persuade the public, right? To persuade the media. The strategy around releasing the Roe memo, and I say it's a Democratic strategy because NBC News said explicitly today that when they got it from, quote, Democratic sources. This strategy is aimed at 2 specific Republican senators. It has an audience, a very specific audience. And those 2 senators have admitted that they will base their vote in part on that issue. I mean, whether or not anybody else is moved or persuaded about the certainty of Kavanaugh's vote to make abortion illegal, right? Whether or not this memo persuades anybody about that. The key question is whether Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins are persuaded by the release of this memo.